So to choose the methodology for my research project, I landed on choosing mixed methodologies. There were a number of reasons for that, but mainly because I wanted to do different types of research so that I had things that I could compare it to as I was finishing. So first I started with a student survey. I created it using Google Forms. There were 15 questions, and it took students about 15 minutes to complete the survey. Of course, they filled out the IRB and returned that before they were able to take place in that survey. They took the survey in their physical education course on a short planning day, on a CPT day, where they dressed out for class and then met in the classroom and then took the survey from there. So the survey aimed at finding different things. First, to answer the research question, how do students perceive their physical education dress code policy? How do they feel about that dress code policy? What do they think about it? So I asked them a lot of different questions. I asked them both quantitative and qualitative questions that were related to the subject. So I mainly wanted to figure out if each student had all the proper equipment that they needed for PE. So mainly a lock, a locker, and the physical education uniform, what they're required to wear. So that was number one. Another thing I wanted to find out was how students felt about their PE classes and really what their knowledge base was of their PE class. So, for example, I asked questions about, if they knew how many semesters they needed to graduate from PE, but I also asked them questions about what they needed to wear and whether they had the clothes and whether they kept them in a locker or their backpack and things like that. So these questions all together helped me create themes and to find commonalities and to figure out, really what was impacting these students, what was the good, what was the bad, what was the ugly, and see what they were thinking. So secondly, I did a document analysis. So I took, I was able to gain access to 5 syllabus from 5 different schools within the same district. I was able to contact their PE department heads and get access to those. And from there, I took those documents. Mainly my first goal was just to find the grade breakdown. It was how are teachers, to answer my second research question, how are teachers most commonly grading students in PE? How are they doing that? And so I was assuming that I was going to find a lot on how they were grading based off of dress and participation and whatnot. And unfortunately, that is what I found. So I was able to look at those syllabus and really get some details on them and figure out the grade breakdowns and the commonalities and differences. So mainly, one of the schools was basing student grades 100% off of dress and participation in class. So, and then another school was basing it only 50% off of dress. But this also helped me create other common themes, like how much change time the students had. It varied between schools, but almost all schools were between the 5 and 7 minute range. So that was one of them. Another thing was the swim unit and what they required for that. It's actually a separate uniform, so that was another thing that I could add to a future study. So there was the swim unit. Loaner clothes was another big one. 4 of the 5 schools provided loaner clothes to students if they needed them because they forgot or whatever.